If I had it, I'd give him $10 million to make Clerks 3. Make a huge return on that.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to A Conversation with Colin. I'm Greg, and this is my roommate, Colin. Now, sometimes Colin says crazy stuff. So every Tuesday and Thursday, I reach into the random topic pile, pull one out, throw it at him, and we talk it out for your amusement. If you like that, like the video, share it with your friends, subscribe to us on YouTube. Colin, are you ready? Mm-hmm. Today's topic of conversation is Kevin Smith, submitted by @SportsFanINRI. I don't know what that means. Innery? It's not a good Twitter name.
Sports fan.
In Rhode Island.
Sports fan in Rhode Island.
There you go.
Sports fan in Rhode
Woo! Kevin Smith. What do you think about the Kevin Smith films? I'm a big Kevin Smith fan. I'd gone through my times with him. I grew up. Mallrats, I said, was my favorite movie for a long time. Then kind of fell out of it. Now I feel like I'm back in. I'm listening to Fat Man on Batman, doing all these different podcasts.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't cared much about him in a long time. But I mean, the things that he did, Clerks, Chasing Amy, Mallrats, Dogma, that kind of stuff is good stuff. Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Yeah.
Those are all great movies.
Were they big milestones to you? We didn't grow up in the same area.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah.
They were. Clerks and Mallrats especially were really important.
Why?
I don't know. I think Mallrats kind of exemplified a little bit of nerd culture for us.
Yes. Mallrats was the first time I remember seeing what my life was of long boxes and single issues being celebrated on this, a big screen, right? And them having a conversation about Superman and Lois Lane and having Stan Lee in it, and it was like, oh my God, this is awesome.
Tell him, Steve Dave.
You tell him, Steve Dave.
I think I love the scene Brody's playing NHL '94 on his Genesis, and he wakes up, and the first thing he does is look for his controller, and he starts playing.
Finish the game.
And he's like, Hartford the
Whale.
It's like
they only beat Vancouver once, maybe twice in a lifetime.
So good. That movie's really special.
In a weird way, it gave me hope, right? That I was this nerdy comic book kid. You saw these people who were having relationships, like, oh, eventually I'll find some girl that puts up with my shit.
Yeah. I just thought it was funny, and the girls were kind of hot, and
Shannon Doherty.
Yeah, Shannon Doherty was
top shelf.
Yeah, I like Shannon Doherty in that movie. I think she's hot in that
cool.
movie.
Yeah, she's good.
And of course, the other girlfriend.
The girl from Meet Joe Black.
Yeah.
I always forget her name, but yeah, I know her.
And Clerks is awesome.
Yeah.
Clerks is just funny and vulgar, and when you're ninth grade or whatever, it's really edgy to watch that movie and stuff like that. Chasing Amy's a little more thoughtful, and I think but really funny still. Dogma, I think, is probably the worst of the bunch.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
But
see, I think Jay and Silent Bob is worse than.
I think Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back is So I saw Jay and Silent Bob. The specific memory I have about this is. Yeah. Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back came out in early September 2001, I remember. Yeah. And I saw it, I broke my collarbone. And 2 days later, I went with my brother to the movie theater and we saw that movie. And then 2 days later, 9/11 happened.
Right.
So that's why I remember that.
Yeah. For me, it was the same thing. I was just getting ready to go to college and bought the Jay and Silent Bob soundtrack. And it was one of those, this is when the soundtrack still had bits from the movie in it, you know what I mean? So I knew lines from the movie word for word before I got to the movie or whatever. But yeah, listening to that, and that was the first time I heard that How Many People Want to Kick Some Ass song or whatever, you know what I mean? And then getting there and 9/11 happened, and then this is also when I found LimeWire and I was just downloading so much music illegally. And the guys who sang How Many People Want to Kick Some Ass did another version at a live show, a week after September 11th, and changed the lyrics and stuff, and it was all these weird moments around that event. Right?
Yeah. That's I just that seeing that movie is memorable to me for some reason.
Sure.
I remember I had I couldn't get into any shirts, so I had wore just wife beaters, and then would put a button down over me, and drape it over because I had my arm tied to my body basically. But he's so those 5 movies that's a pretty solid group of movies. After that, Clerks 2 and. What else am I missing that came out after that?
He did Red State. There was Clerks 2.
Yeah, I don't
Jersey Girl.
Yeah, I don't care about any of those. Yeah. Those 5 movies are fine. Memorable movies. I think you're probably right. Mallrats or Clerks probably the best of the bunch.
What I like a lot about Kevin Smith, right, is that he did all those movies, keeps making movies, but then he also just podcasts and travels around the country answering questions, basically doing what we're doing in front of the giant auditorium of people who just want to hear him talk. And he's got the Jay and Silent Bob Get Old tour and that podcast. Like he goes around and does all this awesome stuff with Jason Mewes as a way to keep him on the up and up, right? To keep him off of drugs now and keep him sober. Basically.
Oh, is that the whole thing?
Yeah, it's like a public. Their whole thing is that they go around and during the show he always asks, you know, how many days sober are you? And then he talks about like any struggles he's had and stuff like that. Like it's.
Oh, so he relapses and stuff like that?
He did once. Well, I don't want to say that. I don't know how many times he has or not, but it's more just like it's basically like an AA meeting in front of all his friends.
That's interesting.
Right? Yeah, but he's got a good take on life. I feel he's got it figured out.
Yeah, I like him. I think he's like seems like a nice person, authentic person.
Right.
Thankful for his fame and you know the experiences he's delivered, the characters he's created.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think his movies are special. I wonder if younger kids will appreciate them.
Yeah.
For what they are, especially a movie like Mallrats.
Yeah.
With like that doesn't really have like a transcending theme as much as it's just like a day in a mall basically.
Stink palm.
Yeah.
Stink palm.
Or like just Brody as a character especially is just like
Brody's the best.
Fucking awesome.
Yeah. Clerks I think will always have something to say for somebody, right? Kids are always gonna have to work dead end jobs. Like just stupid ass retail stuff and have to deal with that. Now you look at it, it's so dated, obviously, like everything in that movie.
I think the black and white helps it not be as dated as it would be. Like it's a cool stylistic choice to put that in black and white. I think actually really smart. And I think it helps it age better.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. Berserkers and that as well.
Yeah. Would you like some making fuck Berserker? the best, man.
Like what does he say? He's like, what's that guy's name? The Russian guy. Because he would be like, you know, whatever your name is, metal. Or whatever,
Yeah.
And you would do like a face or whatever, like the metal.
Yeah.
Like it's just really funny, like it's just good stuff.
So I think the final thing about Kevin Smith before we go, you brought it up in the Kickstarter one. I thought it was good that you don't like Kickstarter. We talked about that. You tipped your hat to him, of course, that he was like, I'm not gonna fucking Kickstarter Clerks 3. I can make that happen.
Yeah, he has millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Kevin Smith has millions of dollars. So and lots of connections and lots of success at the box office. You know, like he could figure it out. If like Clerks 3 can't be made, then he has a problem. Like I'm sure someone out there will gladly give him $10 million to make Clerks 3. Mm-hmm. If I had it, I'd give him $10 million to make Clerks 3. Make a huge return on that.
Yeah, it's a good point. Maybe we'll Kickstarter ourselves. We'll be producers. Right. I think that's what they call it. If you're just gonna give money to somebody, you're just a producer, not kickstarting.
It's already in the works.
It's already in the works?
He said that on our show.
Yeah, I know. He can still use some money, Nick. Think it's all done?
Do you pay attention to the interview?
I don't like you anymore, Nick. Well, Colin, I think that wraps up that one. Thank you so much, sports fan in Rhode Island.
Sports fanery,
for being part of this show. Remember, if you have a topic of conversation for Colin, leave it in the comments below. Then come back every Tuesday and Thursday to like the video, watch it, share it with your friends. Until then, have a conversational day.
And there are times where I'm like, what happened at this battle in World War II in the Pacific, right?
Sure.
And I'm like, I don't know what the casualty rate in this battle was off the top of my head, and I want to read more about it. And I start to go to Wikipedia. And then I'm like, no, I don't want to spoil it for myself. I'm going to read a book about it and get to the very end of the book.
Oh, that's nice.
You know?
That's neat.